Welcome. Welcome back. Carroll Patrizi here. Just so honored to be your host throughout this wonderful summit, hosting such amazing speakers. And today is a special day. We have the lovely Cat Coluccio, and Cat is coming to us, and I hope I pronounced this properly, straight from Auckland, New Zealand. I believe that's how you pronounce it. She does it all, right? She's an author. She is the host of the Rocking Midlife Community and Podcast, as well as she is one of those that I love most. She is a teacher. She is a trainer. She is a life coach. She does it all. And I'm just so thrilled that we are here together today to share with you, our incredible audience, and talk a little bit about rounding out this year, setting intentions, goals, New Year's resolutions, however you call the wants and needs of your life, but not just to get started in the new year, but we're going to talk about ways that you can keep the momentum going throughout all of next year. So welcome. So thrilled that you are all here. And Kat, I'm so happy to have this moment with you.
Oh, so am I. Thank you so much for the privilege of being here. And I'm so looking forward to our conversation.
Well, I'll tell you what. First of all, what time is it in New Zealand?
It is 10:15 on a Thursday morning, and I believe it's a Wednesday evening for you. Would that be right?
I mean, unbelievable. Yes, this is just so, I love this. I love that we have become
The future is great. The future's great. You're going to be good.
That's right. Thank you for letting me know. Such a cool moment in time that we've become such a global community. And because I think there's so much we can learn from one another. And thank you for being here. Take it away. What in the world? How do you personally and professionally round out the year, set up for the new year? And most importantly, do you have tricks, and to take us throughout the new year? Let us know.
Wow, that's a huge question, but it's actually something I really get worked up about because I love this time of year. I love the feeling of birthing something new into the new year. So of reflecting on what's gone before and then planning and then working out the plan of attack and then launching into January. And which is quite different because this time of the year down this end of the world is also our summer holidays. So we kind of are winding down a lot about this time, but I still love to use it then to be preparing to launch again. So like I said, there's so many things I could get into, but one of my most favorite things to do, and it's an exercise that I've done with all clients and in workshops online and in person for many years, and that is to do a life audit. Now, chances are you've heard of this before. It's not something particularly revolutionary. It's been around for a while, but I can't sing its praises enough. And basically what it is, it takes what Zig Ziglar used to do, this exercise called a life wheel or a wheel of life, but it allows you to take a snapshot of where your life is at the moment. And then once you have that snapshot, you can then start looking at what are the areas that you're strong in, what are the areas you're weaker in, what would you like to work on more, and then you can start your planning from that point on. But there's no point sitting down and just thinking, gosh, I want to do this next year, I want to do that next year, without having taken the time to do this reflection and this life audit. So I am so passionate about life audits. I've actually written about it in a number of my books, and I'm going to do a real, excuse the shameless plug here, but this particular one, 21 Hacks to Rock Your Midlife. The reason I'm holding it up is because I did a whole chapter on audit your life in it. And so I thought I'd just grab it and give you some little tips if you want me to give you some specific
Please.
tips. Would you like that, Carol?
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
I know the audience would love that. Please, please.
Fantastic. Well, it's a really easy thing to do. All you do is, first of all, you get rid of the family. Okay. So by that, I don't mean like, take them out, but separate yourself from the family. And chances are, if you're doing this in December with all the busyness, this could actually be a really lovely little moment for you. Grab yourself your favorite cuppa, get yourself a pen, a piece of paper, and go and be quiet somewhere where you can actually meditate over things, you can pray about things, and you can actually be really honest without having someone leaning over your shoulder going, oh, yeah, what's that? What's that you're doing, hey? So that's the first step, and that is actually really, really critical that you do that. Then draw yourself a big circle and divide it up into little wedges, just like your pies over there that you guys love. Divide it up into little wedges, and then just label them certain things that are important in your life. So there's some obvious ones. I'll just read out a couple that I wrote, the really obvious ones. One might be to do with your romance. One might be to do with recreation, things that you like to do, to have fun, your career, your personal development, your finances, your health, your environment, and your general relationships. So really easy. And you can add more to that or take some of those out if you don't think that they apply. But once you've done that, the idea then is you're going to grade everything out of 10. So let's say you're getting on great with your partner. Yeah. Romance, yeah. Your marriage is hot as anything and you're having a great time and it's really good. So you might give that 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Fantastic. Well done, you. However, you might find that your career's actually really stalled. You're not feeling fulfilled. You're not really, reaching your potential. You're a bit over it. So you might give it maybe a 5. Your finances might have taken a real hit. So you might be putting them down on a 3. Whereas your environment where you work or in your home, you may have done a lot of work to it and you absolutely love it. And that might rank a 10. So that's what I mean. That gives you then a snapshot. It's not necessarily something that shows your life for the last 5 years. It's just something that shows your life in this moment. And once you have that snapshot, then you've got the data to start working out what your goals are. So your next step might be, okay, well, which are the ones that are doing really well? That's fantastic. Which are the ones that are looking a bit low? So I think I mentioned career and finances. So let's look at those. Now, to eliminate the overwhelm that can go with all of this data, what I then suggest to people is they just focus maybe on 1 or 2. So maybe the 2 top ones, okay, they're doing well. Do I need to put more time into them, or can I have a little less time put into those things instead of, going out and playing pickleball for 10 hours a week? Would I be happy with 9 hours if I can put an extra hour into improving my career? You can start to make decisions like that. When you're looking at your career and you're looking at your finances or whatever rated low, and then you can ask yourself questions. Do I need to put more time in? Do I need to get a mentor? Do I need to look at whatever? But you can ask these questions once you've got the data in front of you. And that's when you can start setting the goals, because that's the next step. Is this all right, Carol? Are you with me at the moment?
My gosh, I love it so much, but I want to back up a little bit because one thing I feel like some in the audience might be thinking about this. It is unbelievable to me that the very first step, as simple as it is, which means sit down by yourself and allow yourself 30 minutes, even an hour. That sounds, first of all, wonderful. And yet sometimes it's the first step. People stop there. They're like, oh goodness, yeah, I'm going to do that Saturday. Oh, I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to do it tomorrow morning. And I just want to remind the audience, and of course, I'm usually just talking to myself.
Me too.
Constant state of learning, right? Is that it's all about accountability. Again, back to our arching subject is accountability and success in any area of life. And it's small steps, it's progress, not perfection. We must, if we are truly committed to personal growth, in every area and in any area. We've got to be able to keep an appointment, a 1 hour appointment with ourselves.
Yes.
And I just find it, and I mean this as it's a curious thought for me, because it is very hard for me to keep appointments with myself.
Yes,
So
I'm the same.
to keep an appointment with you, looking so forward to our conversation with friends, with family, with coworkers. I mean, it's unbelievable. Now I've gotten to where I'm pretty darn good at it, because one of the reasons I love to talk about it is because I knew it would help me keep myself accountable. But that step in and of itself is so important. And then I love that we're going to take a snapshot, because where we begin is from where we are.
Absolutely.
Don't
Yes.
take an honest look at each of those areas. We can't do that. So I love the life audit. I love, we're going to cut this up into just little pieces of pie. And then we're only going to focus on one or two.
Mm-hmm.
Just incredible. So yes, I'm loving so far. Was that a pretty good summary of what we're all going to be doing so far?
You're spot on. You're spot on.
Okay. So we've done that. We have our pie.
Yep.
We found a couple of areas that are 5 or lower. And
Mm-hmm.
we're like, okay, let's start here. This does need focus. These are important parts of my life that I want to focus on. So from there, where do you go?
Well, from there, the next step now will be even more reflection, prayer, meditation. Like, okay, let's just get some wisdom about how we're going to tackle these areas. Because you don't I should add, you don't have to do this all in one hit. So that first hour or half hour may just be you doing the actual exercise. You may then want to go away and just mull on it for a day or two. Think about it, pray over it, let it sort of percolate a little bit, and then set yourself another date in the calendar, because exactly what Carroll says, it's so easy to let ourselves down. So pop it in your planner as an important meeting that you have. Then maybe get away again, do another half hour. Now you've come back, you've thought about it, you've prayed about it. What are some of the things that you could start to put in place? So you've got the picture of where you're at. Now you've gone away, you've thought about it, you know where you want to be. And that's the next thing. So those negative areas, right, my career is not great, I'm not happy. We've established that. I've thought about it. Yes, I definitely want to work on this. I think I definitely want to stay in that company, doing that job. So now how do I make it better? And that's when then the next lot of decision making happens. What do I need to do to help me get from where I am now to where I am there? And it may well be just that time of prayer and percolating and writing and everything that you know what you've got to do. Or it may mean that you actually need to go seek some advice. And that's all part of it too. So who is a business mentor, as we're talking career, who is a business mentor, or who is an HR person perhaps that you could go and just get some advice on? What would they recommend that you do to help you get further to where you want to be in your job with what you're doing? So it's really cool, because that way you're not just like, that game you guys used to play as a kid, like, pin the tail on the donkey, where you you were blindfolded and trying to stick things. So you're not just picking out goals for the heck of it, blindfolded and just hoping that they kind of sit roughly around what you want to do of your life. You're able to then make specific goals that are connected to where you want to be, that are made having used the data of where you are now. And it just makes it a lot clearer, and ultimately a much easier path then for you to follow, because it's all kind of laid out in the process. So it's not like me coming up and going, well, okay, next year I want to have had a promotion, but you haven't taken into account where you are now. What skills do I need to actually move into that job? What would the hours be? What, all the things that go around that. So it's helping you then create your SMART goals, which we all know about. So I won't go into that, but you're able to goals set specifically according to what you want to achieve. And then the beauty of it is, once you've got that plan in action, then it's a matter of implementing it. And you're going to be hearing from all these wonderful speakers about different ways that you can then be accountable to following those goals. One thing I do recommend in my books is actually creating a dream team, which is the people in your life who you can look to for wisdom. So it may well be like your dad's a wonderful business person. He can be someone who could advise you. It may be your accountant. It may be a financial advisor. You know, having a dream team of people who are wise, who are proven in their fields, who you can actually get advice from, that can be really helpful, particularly in keeping you accountable, because you're checking in and saying, right, guys, in a month's time, I'll be coming with my paperwork to show you where I'm at, what I've done. You may be someone who's more intrinsically motivated and you're able to keep track of your goals by documenting yourself, be it daily, weekly, or whatever. Or you may get yourself a mentor or someone amazing and motivating like Carroll in your life who you're checking in with and you're showing them what you've done. But the main thing is that you're then you haven't just got this beautiful life wheel and this beautiful set of goals and that's it. The idea is then that you're putting them into action, obviously, and you're putting in the pieces that are going to help you actually get the rungs on the board, get there. But then the most exciting thing, doing a life audit isn't a one-off. So what I would then recommend is you could do another one. In fact, I would recommend that you do one every quarter. And you will find, if you're being really honest, that they will change because you're not static. We're not static people. Life changes and ebbs and flows. So by doing one every quarter, it enables you to reflect on what's working, what's not working. You may notice that your career's now gone from a 5 up to a 7. So, okay, that's good. Maybe I can focus now on one of the other low numbers that I put aside. So you're constantly adjusting, but it's all about you and you being able to do the best that you can do with what you've got. And the way to do that is by being fairly systematic in reflecting, in taking a snapshot, in then planning and then implementing that plan. How's that sound, Carroll?
Well, it sounds incredible. It's amazing. What always jumps out to me are the simple steps that sometimes stop us.
Yeah.
And I love this one thing that you said, and I love this so much. Let's say it's professionally that you're not, you're doing what you're good at, however, you're not happy. And you might, whatever it is, to go and speak to whomever's in charge in the HR department or to someone within the company that you can process and that you have a safe relationship with. I think that, when our kiddos were young and in school, it turned out to be the very best practice to have the kids, and they were willing to, and I always was excited for them to have the courage to approach the teacher.
Yes.
It takes great courage to step out and have a very honest conversation with someone, with your teacher, with your boss, with someone else there. It's wonderful. I think we find strength in asking for help. I think that's really how we grow in our strength. But to have that conversation, I just want to remind everyone, when you go to someone, it is such a gift to them to come and you're saying, I trust you enough to have this conversation. I'd like to grow here. These are the areas, I just don't feel good about certain things. This is, is there growth in the company? This is where I really would like to end up here. Those conversations are so important.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And it brings about respect. And all of a sudden, these people, this person that you reach out to, they may not have ever known that you aspire to be more, to do more within that company. And all of a sudden, there is this new relationship. And regardless if it's all about relationships, it's about trust,
Oh,
it's about
yes,
willing.
absolutely.
And so I love that advice that you have shared. Go to them, to someone there. And I also think that we often forget. I have to say, the most successful people I know in every area of life are those that are so happy to have a conversation, to tell you what they learned along the path. And so I love that advice. Go and speak to someone. And then if you need to reach out to someone such as, Cat or anyone else, then do that. But go first to the people that you're doing your day to day with.
Yeah. I think it's very easy, and particular for people like myself who are actually introverted in real life, because we do all our processing internally. It's very easy to get so caught up with your own thoughts that you end up not including anyone else when it comes to decision making. Whereas if you can see going to your boss or going to HR or whatever the issue is, or, if let's say one of your issues is your health, going and getting advice from different health providers or fitness people or whatever, if you can see that as part of your data and take on board what their recommendations, their advice is, doesn't mean you have to do it, but you're getting a far bigger picture, far more data to then make your decisions from when it comes to goal setting. And I just think it's really important to not just be in our own little echo chamber. We've seen how that works with the media. And I think if we can learn to be much broader with our own research and thinking and all of those things, it will help us then make far more, what's the word, tangible and targeted goals that are really going to get us from where we are now to where we want to be. Yeah.
And I also love your advice. You do this life audit quarterly, because
Yes.
we so often we need to make adjustments. And that's
Yes.
good or bad. It's reality. Life happens, things happen, things change. It's a constant. So we need to stay in touch with where we are and continue to be willing to make those adjustments. I love that. Very, quarterly. Quarterly is great, right? It's really,
Yeah.
I hope the audience, I shouldn't hope, I know that they will appreciate when someone says, sit down, do this. We're all looking for someone to say, this is a plan. Now work it according
Yeah.
to what works for you. But so often, the other thing about this is let's face it, knowledge is knowledge and it's fabulous, but knowledge without action does not create growth.
That is so right. And I guess that's always been my thing. I've always been quite practical. So, you'll probably have some speakers that give you much more inspirational information, but I'm always been about the hacks and the tips and the actions. In fact, that 21 Hacks book, there is an action at the end of every chapter, because I'm such a believer in actually putting something into action. And it can be imperfect action. You're not going to get it always right, which is something I have to learn the hard way and still wrestle with, because, I'm one as well that, or if it's not perfect, I don't think I want to put it out there. And then you sit on things for years. It's a matter of don't just listen, and that goes for life in general, and it goes for this summit particularly too. Don't just listen, but listen with a pen in your hand and take action and think about it. And I really believe gathering the data, once you've got that snapshot, gathering that data is part of your action steps before you go making your goals. It just helps you so much more, targeted, intentional goals that are really going to affect your life, which is exactly what we want, isn't it?
That's right. Everyone that's here, they're looking for tips and tricks and actionable steps that are simply taken. And every one of the steps you have shared, they are simple. You just to be willing to do that. I also love, I'd back up a little bit. I love that you said your first 30 minutes or the first hour. That can just be it. You sit down, you just take an honest look, you make your little wheel for your audit, and then you walk away thinking, wow, those numbers are very interesting. I hadn't thought that I needed to work in this one area. I love it so much. And I could go on and on. You know, my favorite thing is having these conversations and learning, and then hopefully putting them into action, right? Putting steps into action. Before we go, two things. One is thank you. And I know the audience appreciates it so much. The gifts will be in your link and how to follow you and the information on your book, and, you know, how they can work with or learn more from you is there, but also beautiful gift that you have shared. Before they go there, could you please just give us your last thoughts on this conversation of rounding out the new year, starting the new year, and really giving ourselves the gift of empowerment by putting these things into action?
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me just, you know, life is a gift. Life itself is a gift. And the fact that we get to sit and do this exercise when so many people don't get to do it. I'm particularly aware of it because, you know, my community is a midlife community. So we were all very aware of the ticking hands of time. But when you look around the world and the unrest that's happening in the world at the moment, and the people whose lives have been so devastated, we have a gift that we can actually go sit for an hour and go look at our lives and go plan and go do things. And my absolute, probably strongest urge for you is that you do it. Do the planning, do the goal setting, follow through, because you have the ability to send the ripples out in your community that will affect the world that we're in. So when you're making your goals, remember it's bigger than you. Remember that everything has this ripple effect. And you might think, yes, but I'm not called to save the world, but you're called to make a difference in your community. So don't shy away from doing your end of year planning, because I guess what I'm trying to say is it's so much bigger than just you. It's not just about you feeling great. It's about you planning something that has the potential to change lives. So please
beautiful.
do the exercise.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to say thank you from the audience. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's always such a pleasure to have a conversation. And I'll be doing my audit.
I'll check in.
I know you will. I know you will. Thank you so very much. And audience,
thank you, Carol.
Remember, check this out. She has done a lot. She does a lot. She speaks from the heart. And thank you for making a difference for all of us, Cat. I really appreciate it. Bye for now. See you soon.